So welcome to Jumbo IS and welcome to our lecture series called Daily News and Shorts. In this lecture series, we cover a particular day's current affairs in a very short span of time within 30 minutes. The idea is that you get to cover your current affairs on a daily basis and you don't have to spend your entire day just reading the newspaper. Now, just watching this lecture within 30 minutes would be job half done because just after watching it, you need to revise it as well. Why? Well, revision helps in consolidating these current affairs in your memory. Otherwise, you'll quickly forget them. Now, you can revise these current affairs from the notes provided by us, and these notes shall be shared on our Telegram channel. The link to our Telegram channel is provided in the comment section just below this video. Alright then, let's begin today's discussion. But first, let's take a look at the list of topics that we shall cover today. So in total, today we'll be covering these 5 topics. Number 1 on this list is the Upper Siang project, the hydroelectric power project in Arunachal Pradesh. Now, this project is strategically important as well as it is important to fulfill the needs of people of Arunachal Pradesh, especially energy needs. Okay, so we'll talk about this. Then, recently, Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation has announced that they are going to update the base year for various economic indicators like GDP, CPI, IIP, Index of Industrial Production. Okay. So we'll talk about the significance of base year for these economic indicators. Then recently RBI's deputy governor has made an announcement which said that there is high level of indebtedness in the microfinance sector. Okay, and there are a lot of problems in the microfinance sector. So what is this problem all about and what is microfinance sector? We'll talk about this. Then as you all know that after Rakesh Sharma, Shubhankar Shukla would be the first person to go to space, first Indian to go to space on Axiom 4 mission. You all must have heard about Shubhankar Shukla. Okay, so he will be the second Indian after Rakesh Sharma to go on a space mission to International Space Station. Okay, so this article featured in Indian Express, which the title of that article was "Why Axiom 4 Matters for India." Okay, so we'll talk about this. And for the past couple of weeks, especially since the conclusion of Operation Sindoor, well, there have been a lot of cases of deportation of illegal Bangladeshi migrants. Now, what is the legal structure to deport illegal migrants in India? We'll talk about this. Okay, so these are the 5 topics that we shall zero in our attention on. Let's start discussing them one by one, starting with the Upper Siang project. Okay. So state-owned National Hydroelectric Power Corporation, so NHPC is the one which is implementing this Upper Siang project, is working on expediting the 11.2 gigawatts, that is around 11,000 megawatts of Siang Upper MultiPurpose project. Okay, so the thing is, as the name suggests, this will be a dam. Okay, this dam will be used to produce electricity, 11.2 gigawatts of electricity, power. It will also serve the needs of flood control, irrigation and many other things. Okay, majorly flood control. Now, Siang river is the river that becomes Brahmaputra river after joining with Dibang, Lohit, Subhansari and many other tributaries. Okay, so NHPC is the implementing authority on Siang Upper Multi-Purpose project, and recently the news has come out that NHPC is expediting the process, quickening the process. Okay, now this project is strategically important. Why it is strategically important? Well, look at this map. Okay, this is Yarlung Zangpo River, okay, which enters India around this after taking a sharp southern bend. Okay, it bends sharply southwards over here. Okay, this is known as the Great Bend. The Great Bend is around a county in China known as the Medoc County. Then it enters Arunachal Pradesh and it is known as the Siang River. And after many other tributaries join the Siang River and it enters Assam, it is called the Brahmaputra River. When Brahmaputra River enters Bangladesh, it is called Jamuna River. So this is the course of Brahmaputra River. Now, the reason why I am calling this project to be a strategic project is because at this Great Bend, the Medoc County, China is constructing the biggest dam on Yarlung Zangpo River, biggest dam in the world. Okay. Now, through that, China will have the capacity to control water coming into India or coming into Brahmaputra, right? Now, China can sometimes increase the flow of water, sometimes decrease the flow of water. Therefore, India is building a project on Siang River. Okay, so whenever China stops the flow of water, the water stored in this Siang dam will be released so that flow of Brahmaputra river is normalized. Okay, and when China releases excess water, then this dam would store that excess water so that there is no flooding in Brahmaputra river. So that China doesn't use this dam on Yarlung-Zangbo river to basically threaten India, create problems with respect to water security. You weaponize water. Okay, so that China is not able to weaponize water, we are constructing this project. So the Upper Siang Multipurpose Project SUMP is proposed 11,000 megawatt hydropower project on Siang River in Arunachal Pradesh. The project is being developed by National Hydropower Corporation, okay, NHPC, and Northeastern Electric Power Corporation. When it gets completed, it is intended to be India's largest hydropower project upon completion. Now, this project, like I said, is strategically important, is aimed at countering China's dam projects on Yarlung-Zangbo River, also known as Brahmaputra River, downstream in Assam. Okay, so it is a strategically important project, and that is why government and NHPC, government-owned company NHPC, is working day and night to implement this project as quickly as possible. Now, the thing is that some local communities are protesting against the construction of this project. Okay, so what are their issues? What are the issues with respect to this project? We'll come to that, but first let's talk about the significance or importance of this project. Okay, so first, like I said, strategic importance, then national security, especially water security, and to basically counter China's attempt to weaponize water in the northeast of India. That is why this project is being constructed. Plus, obviously, it is going to produce electricity, it is going to do flood control, it is going to serve irrigation needs. So, certain developmental needs would also get fulfilled through this Upper Siang project. Okay. Now, this Upper Siang project is undergoing various issues. What are those issues? First of all, there is local opposition. So, some local communities, particularly the Adi tribe in Upper Siang and Siang districts, have expressed concerns about losing their lands and livelihoods. Because when this mega dam would be built, it would submerge the nearby areas underwater. Now, these tribes feel that their lands, their traditional lands would also get submerged, and they don't want that. That is why they are protesting. Plus, there are some environmental concerns. There are concerns about the potential environmental impact of the project, including the submergence of land and displacement of communities. Plus, if these communities get displaced, where will you rehabilitate them or resettle them? There are concerns about the feasibility of relocating affected communities, as the nearby uphill regions are inhospitable due to snow and ice. So there are these issues, and these issues are quite significant. There are rampant protests going on in this area. But like I mentioned before, this project is important for India from the perspective of national security. Okay, because China is going to pull every lever to basically disturb India. Okay, so this is the thing. This is the Upper Siang project. Remember this. Now let's move on to second news item, which is base year for economic indicators. Now look, in India we calculate real GDP. Okay, we calculate consumer price index for measuring inflation. And we also calculate index of industrial production for measuring industrial activity. Right? Now, all these indices, real GDP, consumer price index, wholesale price index, index of industrial production, all these indices, all these economic indicators require a base year. Now, we have covered the issue of base year in our economics lectures, so do check them out, okay? But I'm not going to get into what base year is because I have comprehensively covered that in our economics lecture. So I'm just going to tell you that in this current affairs lecture, I'm just going to basically tell you that all these indicators require base year. Okay. Now, thing is that, well, the current base year is 2011-12. Okay. Now, this 2011-12 base year was adopted in 2015. Before 2015, GDP, CPI, IIP was measured by this base year, 2004-05. Now, it's been quite some time since this base year was adopted. It has been 10 years since 2011-12 has been adopted as the base year. So, Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation, the ministry that is responsible for calculating GDP, CPI, IIP, they have said that they are going to update this base year to 2022-23 from next year onwards. Okay, that's what they have said. Clear? Now, about base year updation. So, the government periodically revises base year for key economic indicators such as CPI, IIP, GDP, WPI. Okay. These revisions are meant to reflect the changing profile of consumption and production in the country and incorporate new data sources. Okay. For instance, Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation has said that now for calculating GDP, CPI, IIP, we are going to use new databases. Like we are going to use UPI database. Okay. We are going to use basically bank details or many other things to gather the correct picture of these economic indicators. Okay. Now, other new changes. So, apart from updating the base year, Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation has said that for computing the GDP estimates, we will use GST data and UPI transaction data. So, these new bases were not available in 2015 when the base year was changed to 2011-12. But now, we can use these new databases for an accurate picture of these economic indicators. Okay. This is for GDP. For consumer price index, well, the government is looking at online platforms of air, railway fare, price data from e-commerce websites, household consumption expenditure survey. So, e-commerce websites would be looked at to better gather the price data for consumer price index. Such regular updation of economic indicators using new resources of information not only helps to improve accuracy but also aids in policy making. Because if you will have accurate data, you will have accurate picture. And if you have accurate picture, then you can also create an accurate economic policy. Okay. There is this concept called informed policy making. So the policy makers need to have an accurate picture for informed policy making. So these updation of base year using these new data sets would basically improve our economic policy making. Clear? So this is what we mean by this entire news item. So remember, we are going to change our base year to 2022-23. If you do not know what base year is, please check out our economics lectures. Okay. All right. Now, topic number 3, that is high indebtedness in microfinance sector. So first, let's see what is in the news. So RBI Deputy Governor M. Rajeshwar Rao has said that the microfinance sector grapples with high indebtedness. That means the people who take microfinance, okay, they are highly indebted, elevated interest rates, coercive recovery practices. Now, what is microfinance? So look, microfinance is basically, as the name suggests, very small loans for extreme weaker sections of India. Okay, like very small businesses, street hawkers. These are very small loans given to extremely poor people. Okay. Now, these loans officially are provided sometimes by banks, but mostly financial institutions called NBFCs, non-banking finance companies. Clear? Now, M. Rajeshwar Rao says that these NBFCs are known to charge high interest rates. The thing is that the takers of these small loans, which is called microfinance, the takers of these small loans are poor people. Okay, they're so poor that they cannot even put a collateral for taking this loan. Why are you charging high interest rates for them to them? Plus, because you're charging high interest rates, they are not able to pay back their loans, and to pay back their earlier loans, they take more loans. So it leads to high debt. Plus, when they default, these NBFC or the agents of these NBFCs are known to use coercive practices. Okay, they threaten these poor people. Okay, use violence at times also. So these things are not good, because microfinance was solely created to empower these poor people. But the result has been quite the opposite. These poor people are highly in debt, have higher interest rates, and suffer from these coercive practices. Okay. Plus, microfinance sector in the country is experiencing a significant surge in delinquencies. That means default. These poor people not being able to pay back their loans. Okay. Portfolio at risk. Now, what is portfolio at risk? Basically, those loans whose installments. So, for example, a bank has given me a loan and I pay monthly installments to that bank. If my monthly installment has been overdue for over 31 days, then my loan is categorized as portfolio at risk. Now, for microfinance sector, portfolio at risk has increased. That means these poor people are so indebted that more of them are now defaulting. Okay, more of them are defaulting, and because the default levels have increased, well, microfinance institutions or these NBFCs are not basically giving new loans because they are already busy in recovering old loans, right? So microfinance industry's gross loan portfolio has declined. Their portfolio at risk, PAR, remember this term, PAR, has increased. This is not at all good news for the overall microfinance sector, plus poor people also. Okay, now some more information about microfinance sector. So microfinance institutions offer small loans, often without requiring collateral, to individuals and small businesses. These services are primarily targeted at low-income households, small businesses owners, entrepreneurs in rural areas, semi-urban, urban areas. Now, the formal microfinance sector, I'm not talking about money lenders because they are informal. But the formal microfinance sector is regulated by RBI. Okay? And what is the purpose of microfinance? Like I said before, their main purpose is financial inclusion, so that people who do not have formal banking services, well, they get that. Poverty reduction is another aim. Empowerment of poor people is another aim. Main purpose of microfinance sector is these things. But the opposite is happening. They are not getting empowered, they are getting extremely indebted. Their poverty is not reducing, they are getting extremely indebted. So something needs to be done. Okay, that's what has been said by Deputy Governor of RBI. Clear? Now let's shift to something that all of us Indians should be proud of, and that is Axiom 4 mission. Because the first Indian to go to space was Rakesh Sharma. Okay, and he went to space on a Russian mission, USSR mission. And that was way back in 1980s. So more than 40 years have passed, but no Indian citizen has gone to space. But now this is going to change, because there is this private mission called Axiom 4 mission. Under this Axiom 4 mission, well, 4 astronauts would be taken to International Space Station, and there these astronauts would conduct some experiments and then they will come back. Now, in this list of 4 astronauts, 1 astronaut is from India, from the Indian Air Force basically. Okay, Shubhankar Shukla. Astronaut Shubhankar Shukla. Okay, so he'll be the second Indian citizen to go to space after Rakesh Sharma. Clear? So it is a proud moment for us. And it is useful also because, well, Shubhankar Shukla would get the much needed experience through this Axiom 4 mission. Because in a few years, India is going to launch its own Gaganyaan mission. In that, ISRO will send its own astronauts. So these astronauts require some experience in space, so that this Gaganyaan mission is successful. And Shubhankar Shukla is one of those astronauts which would go in Gaganyaan mission. So this experience that Shubhankar Shukla would gain through Axiom 4 mission would be really helpful for the success of India's Gaganyaan mission. Okay. Axiom 4 mission, what is Axiom 4 mission? So it is a planned, remember, private space mission to International Space Station. But yes, the Axiom Space Company is collaborating with SpaceX, another private space company, and NASA. Okay. It will mark India's return to space 41 years after Rakesh Sharma's historic space flight in Russia's Soyuz mission in 1984. Clear? Now the heading of the article was, why Axiom 4 matters, or why Shubhankar Shukla's selection in this group of 4 astronauts is important for India. Okay, significance. So number 1, whatever Shubhankar Shukla would learn, okay, it will be a learning experience for him. Whatever he learn on this mission would be critical for other Indian astronauts who would accompany him on Gaganyaan mission. Plus, for Axiom 4 mission, Shubhankar Shukla is the pilot. So he would know how to manage a spacecraft. This would be a very good experience. Plus, over there, Shubhankar Shukla and many of these other astronauts would conduct various experiments. Okay, experiments on growing sprouts. Okay, pulses in space. Because if you are able to grow pulses in space, then the food requirements of astronauts, well, that gets sorted out. They don't have to carry food from Earth, carrying extra weight. Then microalgae experimentation, which would basically reveal that can we grow plants in space, and other zero gravity conditions, zero gravity experiments would really help India's Gaganyaan mission or ISRO's other future manned mission. Plus, it will definitely give a boost to space economy. It would motivate more Indians to become astronauts or to join space. It will attract new talent. It would boost space economy in India. Okay, especially private space economy. And we need to boost our private space economy because global space market is increasing. And India should have more share of this international global space market. Global space market is around $500 billion, of which India only has a 2% share. India wants to increase that share to 10%. And for that, India needs to privatize some of its space activities. So some burden has to be taken away from ISRO. Only then India can gain this lion's share of 10% and basically earn the respect of the global community and earn some money out of it because it is a $500 billion industry. Clear? Alright. And now let's move on to last news item, which is deportation of illegal migrants. Since Operation Sindoor was launched on May 7, Indian authorities have pushed back, that means deported, more than 2,500 allegedly illegal Bangladesh immigrants across the international border. Now, recently, the government has come out with a notification saying that all the illegal migrants should be identified within 30 days. This 30-day deadline for verification of illegal migrants has been given by the central government. Okay, and basically this shows that now the government is very, very serious about this illegal migrant issue. Now, the entire news, the political ramifications of these news, what are the statements of different political parties, that is not important for you because statements of political parties are never asked in UPSC examination. What is important for you to know is what is the legal framework which governs illegal migrants and their deportation in India. Okay, so, well, there are a few laws, some British era laws also, like Foreigners Act, Indian Penal Code, Passport Act of 1920 are used to address illegal migration and deportation. Now, under Foreigners Act, well, government can establish foreigners tribunals. These foreigners tribunals are special courts which deal with issues related to illegal migrants. Okay. So these are quasi-judicial bodies established to determine whether a person staying in the country is illegally a foreigner or not. So these foreigners tribunals, they basically receive evidence, proof, and all these things to determine whether a person is illegal migrant or not. Then they pass an order. If they find out that this particular person is an illegal migrant, then they will pass deportation orders. Once these deportation orders are passed, that particular person is taken to a detention center where he is detained, he or she, and then they are, well, deported back to their original country. Okay. Now, some other functions of foreigners tribunals you should know. So they determine your citizenship status after receiving all the proof. If you're not happy, if there is, let's suppose there is a person who is not an illegal migrant, but the local police authorities have said that you are an illegal migrant. Now this person can show proof in foreigners tribunal by appealing his case in the foreigners tribunal. Okay. addressing citizenship disputes, enforcing legal frameworks, detention and deportation. So all these are functions of Foreigners Tribunal, and you should remember Foreigners Tribunals are established as per Foreigners Act, pre-British or pre-Independence Act. Clear? Though the government has recently come out with a bill which will basically combine all these immigration related bills. Currently we have multiple laws which deal with immigration and illegal migration. Okay, the new bill will combine all these laws into one, so that would really simplify laws with respect to illegal migration, but we'll talk about that some other time. With that, we conclude today's current affairs. Thank you so much for watching, everyone, and I'm sure it has added value to your preparation. But like I say this every time, it will add more value if you revise this lecture and you're consistent and regular with this lecture series. Okay, so in the hope that you will be consistent, regular, and you will do the necessary revision, I'm going to sign off with the promise of seeing you again with another set of news items. Thank you, everyone.